I just didn't like it. It was unsafe. I would complain about it all the time. And then my neighbor, Miss Davenport, was like, start a nonprofit and, just start cleaning up, do a block club or something. And that's just where I started because I wanted to create that change on my block because I still had a lot of family in the neighborhood. And I wanted my little cousins and nieces and nephews to feel safe walking down the block. So that's where it started.
What up, Doe? Black Fridays family, and welcome back to another installment of the Black Fridays podcast. And today with me, I have somebody that is all about the community, Miss Katrina Watkins. How you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Good. Happy to have you here. And you are a part of, the founder and the CEO of the Bailey Park Neighborhood Development Corporation. Could you tell us more about Bailey Park and the organization and how it all came about?
Yeah, well, I started Bailey Park 2014. As a way to deal with the blight and overgrowth in the neighborhood. So just basically started out just clearing vacant lots on my block. That kind of grew to doing different vacant lot projects and adopting a city park called Kelcar Park. We revitalized that park in partnership with Comerica Bank and PAL and ended up installing a baseball diamond to activate that park. Eventually, residents were like, we need our own park. So we ended up purchasing some land bank owned land and creating Bailey Park.
That's what's up. And you all offer, so the corporation offers a lot of services or caters to like the needs of the neighborhood. Could you tell us a little bit more about like the different initiatives and programs that you all have for the folks in the community? Yeah.
So initially back then we were Bailey Park Project, focusing on just parks basically. In 2020, when the pandemic hit, we realized that we needed to do more and provided more services. So we were able to rent a house and turn that into our resilience hub where we run our programming out of. So we have programs that focus on youth development. We have youth leadership. We do the Grow Young Talent Detroit program in the summer. We do programming for seniors. We deliver about 100 food boxes monthly to City of Detroit residents, and we deliver those boxes. We have a Hot Plates for Senior program where we deliver a hot plate to seniors. That's just specifically in our McDougall-Hunt neighborhood. We have an innovation lab where we provide tech services, where we partner with other organizations like Math for Success and do coding for kids. We've done a Salesforce certification program for adults. We're looking to expand that later this year and continue with doing workforce development around the tech field. So we're looking to grow that. We also do community landscaping where I think last year we maintained about 126 vacant lots within our neighborhood. We cut the grass of seniors and residents, business and churches to kind of generate income. So we do lots of programming and events. We have a program, well, not a program, but we have an event coming up in June. We're having a Health Equity Summit at Bailey Park on June 8th. We're also having an event that we call Celebrating Our Fathers, Freedom for Juneteenth, and the Black Rodeo, where we're bringing in horses. And, adults and children can get a horse experience, ride horses, get a carriage ride, and learn about horses as well. So we try to bring in a variety of different experiences to the neighborhood, free of charge. And residents are there and visitors from all over come.
That's amazing. And I definitely have some follow-up questions to that. But I want to introduce you to my favorite part of Black Fridays, which is Freestyle Fridays. So, Katrina, I don't know if you like to rap, if you can sing, if you could do some poetry. I don't know if you got anything in the chamber for us, or would you like to do rapid fire questions instead?
Rapid fire.
Okay.
Oh, I was asking like.
Oh no.
What's rapid fire?
Oh, it's just quick questions. Like I ask you about yourself, and then it's typically just a quick response.
Okay. I know what that is. So.
Well, it's meant to be random, but they're harmless questions. So
as long as it's harmless and not too deep.
Yeah. Like what's your social security? No, that's not.
Yeah, right. I forgot.
All right.
I don't know.
So you ready?
Okay.
Ready? What was your first job, or do you remember your first job?
Yeah, my first job I was a waitress. At Denny's.
Okay.
I loved it. I used to get really good tips.
People who typically had like waiter or waitress experience, they usually like it for the most part. From what I've like, people who told me they worked in that industry before.
Yeah, I love being a waitress. That's my first job.
Nice. What would you say is a song or album that you like have on repeat or you can't put down?
You said that I can't put down?
Yeah.
Stevie Wonder. Songs to the Kid Life. Play it almost like at least 5 times a week.
Okay. That's timeless for sure.
Yeah.
If your phone could do only one of these functions, what would you prefer that it did? And no other functions. Would you prefer phone call, text message, or video call?
Phone call.
Okay.
Yeah.
No video, no FaceTimes, no.
No, I hate people call me FaceTime. Like they call you in the middle of the night. Like, you want to see my face, really? I don't want to see yours. So why are you calling me?
Fair enough. What would you say is your favorite community activity that you have done within the last year or so?
Definitely the horses.
Okay.
That was so much fun. And really, I know kids would love like horseback riding, but I'm telling you, adults loved horseback riding. So that was great, just seeing them have fun.
For sure. Yeah, adults usually they enjoy the same things kids do. They just, got to suppress it a little bit.
That's what keeps you young, enjoying what you did when you were a kid.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And last but not least, do you have a favorite book that you would recommend to folks or that you just really enjoyed? As a Man Thinketh.
Yeah. I just think that so many people don't realize like the power of their thoughts and what you think. What you think about is like literally what you're going to get. If I think about a candy bar, I'm going to get it. Mm-hmm. It's like when people are on drugs and you see people, sometimes I call it like laser crackhead focused because those are some of the most focused people that I've seen. Like they'll go work and then it's like, I got to get my medicine. And they are focused. They are like walking fast down the street and you think if people had that type of focus and what they really wanted to do in life and their dreams and their goals, they would truly achieve them.
Very true. Mm-hmm. Very true. Well, thank you for engaging in Freestyle Fridays. You were a natural. You passed with flying colors. So thank you for engaging in the randomness. And back to Bailey Park and when it initially started, I wanted to know, what was the need that you kind of saw in terms of your community that you wanted to be able to feel through the organization and developing it? Because, some people, a lot of things happen in our communities and things like that, but, a lot of people aren't moved to actually try to do something about it.
Well, it was my block. And I didn't like the way my block was looking during that time, 2013, 2014. There was a lot of overgrowth. The grass was high. It wasn't like that when I moved there because I moved into one of the newer homes that they were being developed in the neighborhood. And I just didn't like it. It was unsafe. I would complain about it all the time. And then my neighbor, Ms. Davenport, was like, start a nonprofit and, just start cleaning up, do a block club or something. And that's just where I started because I wanted to create that change on my block because I still had a lot of family in the neighborhood. And I wanted my little cousins and nieces and nephews to feel safe walking down the block. So that's where it started. Mm-hmm.
And what's kept you going so long? Because like you said, 2013, 14 is around the incubation period of the organization. And you fast forward, we're 10 years down the line. So what's kind of kept you going throughout that time period and some of the lessons you've been learning along the way?
Definitely the residents. Have kept me going because every time I thought, okay, that's about it. I'm kind of slow down and not do anything. People would always say, what are you going to do next? Or, give me, different ideas. Like the park wasn't I was called Bailey Park, but really in my mind, it wasn't like I was going to develop a park. It just kind of happened. And that was because of a neighbor who was like, hey, these lots are contiguous, all together, and they're vacant, and we could probably get them as a nonprofit. So just being fed from the neighborhood, the people in the neighborhood, because during that time, I didn't know about regrid or how regrid work or how to look at lots and figure those type of things out. But it was a neighbor who kind of did it all. And then I went down there and, we fundraised to get it. But it's definitely been the residents and still the residents who are really the push behind Bailey Park, because we are probably one of the only, we're probably 95% resident-led nonprofits.
Mm-hmm. Nice. And that's not something you see. That's not normal in a lot of like neighborhoods. And sometimes you have your neighborhood committees or, things like that. But in terms of actually curating a nonprofit for the neighborhood in order to bring resources and create that help and the services that you need within your own community, you don't see that a lot. And are there other organizations that you were able to kind of like model Bailey Park after that at that period in time, or did you really just have to come up with it from scratch?
From scratch, because I didn't see any other like nonprofits, grassroots, really doing it the way that I wanted to do it. I think Bailey Park is really for us, by us. When I started, there really wasn't a lot of help or people at, providing advice, because in the nonprofit realm with grants is very competitive, So it's very competitive, and I'll leave it like that. And I wasn't getting, like, probably for the first 5 years, wasn't getting a whole lot of advice from other organizations. But I was really fortunate to do a project with 2 UAD students who came in and they did a capstone project, and they cleared about 16 vacant lots across the street from my home. And during that capstone project, it showed me how to connect with Detroit Land Bank, how to do community engagement, how to connect with the schools and other organizations and people in my neighborhood. So that's kind of how I learned. And then I was fortunate enough to connect with, in 2018, a funder kind of saw what I was doing in the neighborhood. And she put some dollars behind what Bailey Park was doing. And that was really kind of what changed us. And I wish other funders would come and put, money behind smaller nonprofits. And she asked us, like, what do you need? And we told her we needed our neighborhood plan updated, and I wanted to build capacity. So she connected Bailey Park with Eastside Community Network, and being connected with Eastside Community Network literally changed the game for us, because I learned so much from them and from Donna Givens.
That's amazing.
And that whole team.
That's amazing. And I would love to know if you don't mind talking about when that opportunity came along with that particular funder, how did you prepare yourself in order to pitch and let them know, like, hey, this is why you need to invest in us, and this is the value add that we have for our community? Because I think that that's very important for somebody who might be listening, who are thinking about doing a nonprofit or have one, to know how do you maximize on opportunities like that, and how do you make sure that you're ready for things like that?
Well, you know what? I never say no to an opportunity. If somebody wants to talk to me, I will. Even today, I will say yes. I'm always ready to share my story. And I knew then, and when I met her, I didn't know how deep she wanted to be, like, involved with us. And then you're always a little skeptical, like, why is somebody reaching out to me? Like, you always have that, want to be cautious. So I didn't know, but I'm always ready to share my story. And me and Dwayne, he's the president of the McDougall-Hunt Neighborhood Association. And we're like a brother and sister team of organizations and do a lot together. We knew from talking to the city said, well, you need to update your plan. So we already knew that we needed an updated plan, but I knew that I needed to learn. So I needed to connect with an organization where I could build my capacity and learn how to do nonprofit work, because I wasn't doing this. This is like the second chapter of my life, picking up the nonprofit work, because I've always been in like education and that type of work. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but knowing your pitch is really important, and speaking from your heart, because when I spoke to that funder, it wasn't like I'm going to pitch her. It was like I'm going to tell her my story. And I've gotten so much from telling my story about what we do in the community. We've had a truck donated, just for me sitting and telling, somebody my story, and other things too. So I share. And for the first 5 years, I did not have any funding, but I accomplished a lot. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's amazing. And how, prior to being able to get that backing from the funder, what was it like being able to still make these efforts towards making the community better as you see fit, but then not necessarily having all of the resources to kind of make it happen?
It's difficult not having resources. It's difficult, like, not getting paid. And a lot of times we pay to do the work. You know, it's like we're paying to do the work. We're paying for the cleanup, and to get the materials and the food at the community meetings. And we're paying to do the work because we want to see the change, and it's important because this is where we live. This is where I live. So it's difficult, and it's a lot of Block Club leaders and community leaders who are paying actually to do the work. And one of the things that I do now is I do lunch and learns. Like I do a lunch and learn with BC so people can learn about zoning and how to do things the proper way, because not doing things the proper way is very costly. I've done lunch and learns on like how to grant write, how to start a nonprofit, how to do the state paperwork, just because I didn't have it. So I try to reach back and help young nonprofits as much as I can.
And then when you were able to get tapped into those new set of resources, once you met the vendor and then got connected with these different organizations, how was that able to like catapult you into where you are now and how you all are structured and the type of things that you're able to do in the community?
I think, of course, it helped us to build our capacity and to know where to go. I think the greatest thing that really helped us outside of having an organization, a larger organization, to help us with finding resources and other things like that, was learning how to find the other organizations that are out there to support, like the CDADs and MCR, that supply a lot of resources to nonprofits about grants and learning. Because a lot of people want to write a grant, but if you don't know how to write a grant, you can write as much as you want to write and not get it. And that's what I did for a long time. So it really is about horning up your skills.
For sure. And you taking a look at the organization, how it's structured, there are other people that's involved with this. So you have a board of directors, and so you have volunteers that help out. Could you talk about how you went about building that team to be able to expand the type of support that Bailey Park is able to offer?
Yeah, well, like a lot of nonprofits, when you start out with like family, friends, like, come on, let's form this board. But once you really start doing something, or you want to do something, you have to get board members who are going to come and bring like resources to the table. They're going to help you fundraise. They're going to help you write a grant. They're going to connect you to other people. They're going to show up when you're having a Motor City makeover, and they're going to show up and help clean up. So having a working board, it becomes really more important as you get stronger and you want to do things. You need a working board. Not just a board of, that's just my sister and my cousin, but they're not doing anything. So having a strong board is really, really important. And I always tell people, if they're doing neighborhood work, because sometimes you can do neighborhood work and not include your neighbors. Right. And it's like, okay, I bought these lots and I'm going to do this. This is my vision, my dream for these lots, and I'm going to create this way. But if you want to create real sustainability, you really have to tap into your neighbors and see what they want, because it's hard. I could never do Bailey Park by myself. You know, I have a resident, her name is Sandra. She's the director of beautification. She runs the ground crew, but she has an eye for just all the green stuff. I don't. So like when people look at Bailey Park, it's not me doing it. It really is her, you know. And just other things too within the neighborhood. So it's really helpful when you have other residents who buy into it. It just creates a more sustainable project. If something is going on at the park, I get all kind of phone calls, you know, because residents are like, this is going on at the park, you know, because they care about it and they feel vested. And we've grown with our programs because of what residents have requested, like they wanted home repair. We have a lot of older homes in the neighborhood. We have a lot of seniors. So just listening to their needs, we were able to get funding for a minor home program. We've repaired roofs, we've like furnaces, and then just connecting and being connected to other organizations that can bring in resources to the residents based off what they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And that was one thing that did interest me, the home repair program that you all offer. So how would that work? A resident can give you all a call or fill out an application and say, hey, I need this done in my home. And like, how does that work for Bailey Park?
They fill out an application. They can put their 3 main things that they would like to have done to their home. And then we see which one is feasible. Because although we say like minor home repair, lots of people put down a roof.
Of course.
Yeah,
of course.
But that's not minor. So, but we can repair it, like if there's a hole, we can repair a hole or a part of a roof, but we're not in a position yet to do a whole roof.
Okay.
And sometimes like a furnace or a boiler can cost more than a minor home repair. But if it's a senior and they don't have any heat, then I feel like we have to do it because we have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, in those cases.
That's dope. Have you had anybody say, I need you to come in and repair my in-ground swimming pool, and they don't have no swimming pool?
Not yet.
They're trying to get you to build one.
Right, to build one. Right. Yeah. But that's one of my favorite programs and one of the programs that I'm really trying to get funding in and grow. The need is great.
Nice. And I'm interested with you being the founder and then also the CEO. What does your day-to-day kind of look like with the organization, given the fact now that you have more of like a established structure in terms of people? You have a board, you have people helping, and different initiatives kind of running themselves or have a certain process to them. What does your day-to-day kind of look like now with the organization?
My day is long. I generally wake up at 5 o'clock, sometimes 4, just because I'm thinking the best early in the morning. And I usually write early. So my days are pretty long. I don't do like the landscaping or anything like that. But I do write grants a lot to keep the funding in, and that's mostly what I focus on. I'm a part of a few different cohorts. So I'm participating in cohorts to kind of hone my skills so that I can continue to build capacity in what I'm doing. So I'm always learning. So between that, making sure people are doing their jobs, because we do have a couple different programs outside of the lawn care. We do the whole property tax credit and, just making sure we're reaching our numbers and we're all doing the best that we can do.
Absolutely. Yeah. Dope. And what is there anything that sticks out so far in the work that you all have done that you have really been proud of, or it's been like a mountain that you all have been trying to like get over and you've been able to accomplishment, anything like that kind of sticks out? Yeah,
I think the thing that sticks out the most is at our park, we've been planning to do this arts alleyway, which costs like a lot of money to repave and to do it the way that we want to do it. But last year we became part of the City of Detroit's Arts Alleyway project. So now the alleyway will be completed. And once that's done, the park is done. So Bailey Park will look like a really nice park.
And I asked you this before we started recording in terms of just so people understand like the timeline. Bailey, so you had said that there is actual Bailey Park.
There is a Bailey Park.
There's the Bailey Park. Is that Bailey Park the Bailey Park that's a part of... Did you all create Bailey Park, basically, is the question I'm trying to get to.
We created Bailey Park. Okay. Bailey Park is, I think it's 1.9 miles, just about 2 miles. So it's a nice, large park. Wow. We created that from 23 vacant lots.
And that's... So the 20... How does that process even go to get 23 vacant lots in terms of like, get... I don't know. You have to like petition for him? If you just buy him outright, like how does that even work? How do you start a process like that?
It was a long process, and people told me that he's not going to let you have those lots. You're not going to be able to do it. And so the first set of 8 lots that we purchased from a fundraiser, that was easy peasy. But then we wanted to get the next 15 lots. Not so easy. It looked like a forest. So at Detroit Land Bank, things change over the course of years as to how you can like have the land. So for a long while, we had different versions of like leases, and then it would change. And then finally in 2023, we were approved to purchase the lots. Yeah, City Council approved it. No, City Council approved it, I believe, in 2022. And then, little paperwork. By 2023, we had purchased those lots. But I can say they did work with us on the price. It was very affordable, for 15 lots. So the city has been supportive in what we're doing. Mm-hmm.
And how do you go into the development of, now that you have the lots, what the park is actually going to look like? Is it going to be, do you continue to keep it like in its natural state? Or do you decide to build certain things on top of it? Structures, like maybe buildings, like how do you figure out the development piece, and who helped you all with that?
We did community engagement. So a lot of, I would say all of what Bailey Park looks like is based on resident feedback. So I heard what they didn't want. They didn't want a basketball court, because residents are around there. They didn't want that in that space. They wanted like a green space. Kids said they wanted enough green space to just be to run and play safely. So a large part of it, the 12 parcels off Charlevoix is just green space. And we beautified it and lined it with like trees and boulders and level and graded it. But we use that space for concerts, and kids can just run and play. And then we have the first set of 8 lots. That's our children's area where we have a playground. We didn't have one in the neighborhood, so they needed a decent playground. So now they have one. We have play mounds. We have exercise equipment. All of that was just like based on what residents asked for.
Nice. And is Bailey Park considered a city park, or is it a community park?
It's a community park.
Got you.
It's a community park, yeah.
Nice. And I want to ask you, in terms of, you had mentioned like the children and some of the stuff that they liked or wanted to incorporate into the park. The programming that you all have for them, I know that you have like a hub where they can, like you say, you work with Map for Success, who has been on the podcast as well, and super great organization. And for them to be able to go and get that type of support, I think is extremely cool. And want to know if you could talk more about how those type of programs help support the children in the neighborhood, in the community.
Yeah, absolutely. So we don't work with like young children because we have a Brilliant Detroit House and they focus on the young, but our demographics is probably like 9 and older. So we partner like with Math for Success. Like I said, they come in, they did the coding classes. We've supported like high schoolers with SAT preparation. In the summer, we do more work through GDYT and the Youth Leadership Program. So we try to support them in those type of ways throughout the year. And we're looking to grow that even more with our youth.
Very nice. Very nice. I could have used y'all back in the day if I was stayed on the east side. I'm a west sider, but yeah, I could have definitely used something like that just to, get an extra incentive to get your homework done or learn something new, a skill or trade. The earlier you can start, always the better. That's at least what I try to tell the young folks that I come across.
Absolutely. We're starting, it's a new program. It's called Misunderstood in the Neighborhood, where kids can just come and get together and chat. So that's more around being just like health and wellness and mental health, and being able to talk and work things out and learning how to control your emotions and, those type of things.
Absolutely. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Nice. Yeah. And do you have you've had the opportunity to work with and partner with different organizations and community organizations. Is there any like dream partnerships that you would love to be able to see with any organizations that you haven't worked with yet, or that may be like on the horizon?
I think Say Detroit is doing like a lot of great things. Yeah, I like what they do. A partnership with them would be great. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Nice.
And what do you see in the future for yourself, Katrina, for Bailey Park? What do you see on the horizon for you all, and what's the big picture, the big goal?
The big picture is affordable housing. Yeah, definitely affordable housing, bringing that to the neighborhood and creating more density.
Speaking of affordable housing, I've talked to a few people about this within the last month, just in terms of like what that looks like in Detroit, because we don't have a lot of apartment buildings in Detroit proper, at least not like ones that you would that's not like the most I don't want to say like upscale, because every apartment building doesn't have to be upscale, but a lot of them are not up to standard of what like a regular apartment building would be somewhere else maybe. So just wondering like what if you had any thoughts on how do you build that, how do you make it sustainable, how do you make it affordable for the people who occupy those spaces, and then make sure that they have like the proper amenities that they would need.
Yeah, well, you definitely have to get tax credits. And you have to work with developers who are skilled enough to be able to go after those tax credits and grants to lower the cost, because the cost of developing homes and apartments, it's really expensive now. Mm-hmm. So to get the cost down so that it's cheaper for people to rent or to purchase, you have to have something that's supplementing it, like grant or tax credits, and normally it's the tax credits that lower it, so that you can have a quality, home or apartment. So yeah, but it's difficult because, I think a big problem is the AMI. If you're looking at AMI, Warren's AMI, what is affordable in Warren is not affordable for a lot of Detroiters.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And do you have any piece of advice for folks that you would give who are interested in starting a nonprofit, already have one, or want to possibly start one to make change in their community like you have? Do you have any words of advice or encouragement for them on their journey?
Yeah, I would say try to partner with a larger organization. Look for organizations that can provide support and advice, like MCR, which is Michigan Community Resources, CDAD, get a CDAD membership. There's another one, COAC Detroit, offers so many different classes. All of these things weren't really around when I started, but it's a lot of information out there for people who want to start a nonprofit and to decide whether or not they really need a nonprofit, or should they just partner with a nonprofit for what they want to do, because a nonprofit is a lot of work.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. And Katrina, I really appreciate you coming on the podcast today and sharing your experiences and your journey. I know it's not easy. I have a nonprofit myself. It's not easy maintaining something like that and or doing the work. So definitely commend you and all the folks who are a part of the Bailey Park team and all the work that you're doing in your neighborhood. It's truly inspiring. And I'm thankful for all that you do for your people.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It was great being here.
Absolutely. And everybody watching, we're going to tap in with y'all soon. Peace.